Okay, gents, let's now focus on match week 16 in the Premier League. One game sticks out to me. Headlines, Liverpool, Aston Villa. So many headlines swirling, and that one with the return of a certain former Liverpool legend, Steven Gerrard, coaching now Aston Villa. Let's see what kind of reception he gets at Anfield. I'm sure it's going to be a great one. Nick Mendola, what are your thoughts on Liverpool against Aston Villa? Because Villa could cause an upset, but this does seem like Liverpool are just at another level right now. Gerrard or no Steven Gerrard?
It does. I'll say this. One of the things that's so annoying about Steven Gerrard is I think what's going to make him a pretty darn good manager is he refuses to give you the soundbite. They asked him about going back to Liverpool right after the last game. He's like, oh, it'll be fun. I've been there before. It's just another game. Next one up for us. And it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, you're going back to Liverpool. You're the guy. You're perhaps the English footballer of the 21st century, right? Like, in terms of carrying gravitas, and didn't he punch a DJ or something? Like, he had everything. He was off the pitch. He was on the pitch. He was commanding headlines. And so I kind of want, there's part of me that hopes that this game goes off and something happens on the touchline that turns him into the focal point of, oh, do we not like him now? Because that would be fun. But I think it's just going to be an incredible reception. It would be nice to see. All I'm really hoping is be nice to see him get emotional. It would be nice to see him because I watch a lot of Celtic Rangers and over there, and he did a really good job of knowing the game was important, but treating it like any other game. I just want to see that this is different for him. And we know it is, but I just want to see that from a guy who could be so steely-eyed and you'd be scared to be in a fight with him, against him, I should say, or maybe with him, right? And who knows what he'll pull out. I'm excited for this game just to see how he acts.
Me too. My mind goes back to the last ever game that Gerrard played at Anfield against Crystal Palace. And he was emotional on that day. And that was an incredible tribute to him from the Liverpool fans. They adore him, captained them to the Champions League glory. He obviously played a key role in winning so many trophies. He's a boyhood Liverpool fan, lived out his dream, captaining the club. He's a legend. I'm sure one day he'll be the manager at Liverpool, maybe even take over from Jurgen Klopp in a few seasons. Who knows? But it will be really great to see his reaction, because I do think, like Nick said, he's playing it down. But when push comes to shove and he walks out at Anfield on Saturday as Aston Villa manager, it's going to be tough for him to control those emotions, because he does lose it on the sidelines in a good way. When his team scores or something goes on, he celebrates wildly, but it's going to be so conflicting for him against the club that is all he's ever known, really. But fair play to him for going to Glasgow Rangers, becoming a great coach there, having a very good start. Aston Villa, 3 wins from the first 4 games. And yeah, let's see where it plays out. Andy, what do you think about this game? Because I can see Liverpool can fly out of traps, maybe going a couple of goals ahead, but then Villa have been really good in the second half of games. They've fought back. They've had a lot of good comebacks, scored a lot of goals in the second half since Gerrard came in, and gave Man City a pretty good run in the second half as well, didn't they? So can we see something like that happening at Anfield at the weekend?
This Aston Villa team is tough to beat. They might not win this game on the weekend at Anfield, but they are very difficult to play against. They're very difficult to break down, and I think that's been the most impressive thing about Gerrard coming in, and just the handful of games that he's had, is he has completely remade that defense, and he's done it by changing the shape just a little bit. He's got real actual protection there in front of the center backs. He's got fullbacks that like to get forward, but they're a lot more defensively responsible than I think they were under Dean Smith. And I think ultimately, I like the phrase that Nick used earlier, talking about Manchester United and Solskjaer, was, not great coaches. They find something that works and they stop looking for the next thing that will work, and they just stick with it. It felt kind of like Dean Smith had fallen almost into a rut with Aston Villa, and maybe that's the explanation for why that change needs to be made, because it was obviously the right choice to bring in Gerrard. He has that gravitas that Nick was talking about. He has a demeanor about him, and just, I think, an understanding of the occasion that a lot of managers maybe don't have. And I'm struggling to understand why Gerrard does. Maybe it's because he's so soon out of his playing days, and so he still feels a real attachment and connection to that. Whereas anybody that's, over 45 or 50 years old is so far removed that it all becomes part of just the endless and the never-ending cycle that they're a part of as a manager. And so he just has this perspective and this energy about him that he comes in, he means business, his team means business as well, and they've really taken on his personality. And I think that's one of the most interesting things that happens in sports is a group of players can identify with a coach, with somebody that's in charge, and really take on the characteristics of them, play the way that they want to, play the way that he did as well. There's just a lot of freedom within that team. So they're a good team. They're going to be really good, I think, under Steven Gerrard in 12 to 18 months' time, assuming that he's still there. But I don't think this weekend, it's probably a little bit too soon to say, maybe they can go upset the likes of the Liverpool.
I think so as well. But it'd be a great test to see how far they've come. His tactical nous as well to maybe change in game and try and change things up. But I love what you said there, Andy. I really think that he has inspired this Aston Villa group. They are a very talented group of players, but when they look up and they see Steven Gerrard's in the dressing room and they think about him as a player, what he's already done as a coach, how can you not be inspired by that? Because he looks like a man in a rush. He's not there to mess around with anything when he was playing. Now when he's coaching, he's all business, and he's there to help you if you want to be helped, but you're either with him or without him. It's very clear. And there's a lot if you look at all the great managers, it's very simple. They keep things very simple for players. You either do this or you don't play. And that's why I think one day, if not very soon, he's going to be the Liverpool manager. He's already worked under Klopp in the youth teams there and done some coaching at Liverpool. He'll always be welcome back there. So yeah, I just love his personality, as you said, as an Englishman who grew up when he was in his prime, watching him week in, week out in the Premier League. You couldn't help but be inspired by seeing what he did. And now he's doing that as a coach. It's incredible to see.
Yeah, I'm counting the players here down the squad, nearly a dozen of them that would have grown up in the UK and in England. And I don't know if we've said this in previous weeks. They grew up probably idolizing Steven Gerrard because of the player that he was. Nick made the case perfectly there. The chance to play for him has to be the most inspiring thing. They're probably texting their friends when Gerrard gets hired. Wow, the new manager, and the first day in, how was it? It just means something different to them, I think, than what we saw in the first couple seasons since Aston Villa have been back in the Premier League. They look so re-energized, and I think that's probably the best word, because I've watched a lot of Aston Villa this season, and the change from the first few weeks to these last few weeks has been so noticeable.
I'm trying to think of the equivalent, maybe
Patrick Vieira. Look at Palace.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
something to be said for that. Yeah,
exactly. But the US sporting equivalent, Tom Brady coaching the Jacksonville Jaguars or something like that, and those players just being inspired to be around him. Something interesting. Nick doesn't really like that comparison. All right, we'll move on.
No. I want to throw this out there because I was thinking about it. All the examples have not worked out. Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky have not been able to transmit their ideas of what made them great to other players, and that makes this even more special if it works out for Gerrard.
Definitely. For Liverpool, they're obviously very special. Won 6 out of 6 in the Champions League group stage. Found a way against Wolves, so just grinding out wins at the moment and just using a lot of players, which I really like now. They only have a couple of players out missing for this game. Obviously, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott's out, Roberto Firmino. But apart from that, they're pretty much back to full strength. So I love the way that Klopp is bringing in Divock Origi to score late winners and game-changing goals. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's having a lot of minutes at the moment in midfield, like Tsimikas and Neco Williams as well, just playing really well. And Konate's coming in to give Matip or Van Dijk a bit of a rest. So I really like the way Liverpool managing it. Let's see how they can manage it this weekend, because it's going to be a very special atmosphere at Anfield as Steven Gerrard takes his Aston Villa team back to Liverpool. It's going to be really exciting, lads. Really looking forward to that one.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series, and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches, and much more.